We're bobbleheading.
This is us
Yes.
waiting to go live.
Yes, we are. I think we are live.
We are.
Hello. Welcome to the Crazy Show.
Hi,
Oh
everybody.
my goodness. It is good to see everybody. My name is Anthony.
I'm Gabby.
And we are coffee drinking voice actors. It is good to see you with bobbleheads today. That was pretty funny. It just comes out of us. I don't know where it comes from, but it does.
Just,
It's so good to see everybody. Yesterday we had an amazing conversation about your money voice, what it is, how kind of the overall idea, it's not new, but that term or whatever came to fruition. And today we really want to dive into the analysis aspect of this, right? I posted a video this morning on my coffee time about research, the research aspect of the how to researching, analyzing your competition, and then drawing conclusions from those analysis, and then taking the conclusions and turning them into actionable results. So that's a lot to cover, and so we'll probably start with the analysis part. So why don't you and if you're new, make sure you hit that like and subscribe, and also heart us.
Please give us hearts. Yes.
Give us lots of hearts. It really does help,
Give us the loves.
Gets us to new peeps.
Yeah.
To help out new peoples. Okay, so competitive analysis.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it starts from a very, I think, simple place, because it doesn't matter what you do or aspire to do or what creative endeavor you have. You have people you look up to, right? You have idols, you have people that you study. If it's music, you have other musicians that you study, that you idolize. So why would we be any different? I feel so often it's like it's almost an obligation, like to know who you aspire to be like and whose work you admire. And so if you are not already sort of a geek in that respect about voice acting, you don't have sort of these are my favorite voice actors list, like that's a big deal. Like that is something you should be looking to do, because I think that those sorts of things definitely influence us.
Yes.
And I know for me in my early years, that was a big part of what I did. I was obsessed with Randy Thomas. Oh my God, I picked her career apart like under a microscope. Like it was, and I know her, and I've worked with her, and I'm sure like if she heard this, she'd be like, Gabby, that's really creepy. But like it's what you do. So I think that's a big start point.
Well, that's a great. I want to say something to piggyback on that. So I had the same thing. I had voice actors that I looked up to, and some of them were stage actors as well, but also did voiceover work.
Sure.
But when I was doing some work, I learned this old trick. It's a writing trick. Well, it's not a writing trick. It's just a writing. I would say it's a training device,
like an exercise.
Right, an exercise. So basically what you do is you take someone or whatever, whether it's writing, whether it's an actor, in this case, voice actor, and you, I was doing this with audiobooks. You take the narration that they do, you take the script, and basically you turn them on, you listen to them, and you are going to try to imitate their style. Hear yourself narrating in a different manner.
Yeah.
I think that was something I found interesting and helpful. Become necessarily like them as much as you would think, but it was more about tuning my ears, my critiquing, my analysis to just notching it up. Does that make sense?
It does. And I would agree with that. I think, we start off with the idea of imitation is the greatest form of flattery, and it gives us something to work toward early on. But I do think after enough time, you'll kind of branch off and you'll create your own style from that. So that's really the only goal, is not to be stuck there, emulating what somebody else does to the letter. But it can be a really, really helpful exercise for sure.
Yes, absolutely.
And you're right. I mean, it doesn't have to be limited to just voice act. We can expand into that larger territory.
Okay, I had to say this. So I had found so I love Tim Allen and as an actor and a performer, just because he's been the Santa Claus movies, plus the old Tool Time, all the stuff. I love his sense of humor. Right there. I'm bringing it up is because many years ago, Michigan hired Tim Allen to do Pure Michigan. And these were voiceovers by Tim Allen showing beautiful land, just beautiful parts of Michigan and everything. And what struck me as so unique and interesting was that he, the whole approach was just not normal Tim Allen. I mean, he did a whole interview on this because it was extremely wildly successful. These ads, his voiceover. So basically, he said he had gone in there, and the director, and he was like, I was going in as myself. I'm just going to do this thing, and the director goes, hey, I want to go in a different direction. I want you to let's just do it as if you were just a normal guy. And you're narrating just this beauty of Michigan and none of the comedy, the stuff that you normally did. And what he put out was this matter of fact. One of the to me to this day, I think it's one of the most beautiful voiceovers for a male voiceover of our age that I've ever heard. And I spent a lot of time dissecting and analyzing just that voiceover style, and I took on a lot of those characteristics. So I would say it's also really important. Then I found another one, which was the Apple commercial that was originally done by Steve Jobs, but then they'd also hired Richard Dreyfuss to do it. And of course, I love Richard Dreyfuss way more than Steve Jobs.
I mean,
but it was the same. And then I realized it was the same sort of matter of fact storytelling delivery by Richard Dreyfuss in this, and it was only a few lines, yet it was so beautiful to listen to. And I wanted to emulate that in my own way. So I guess another place to start your analysis is to find people you really like, but also find performances that you really like. Sorry, I had to tell that.
I think it really is. It's part of this exploration process. Now, let's kind of jump. Let's jump over to when we talk about competitive analysis from a business standpoint, right? What is it really? It's the mantra of know your competition, right? Know who you're up against, know your competition, understand what they're doing, how they're doing it, what are they doing right, what are they doing wrong. And in some cases, befriend them. I had a boss who used to say over and over and over again in staff meetings, he would go, if you think the president of Coke and the president of Pepsi don't sit down at least once a month and have a meeting, you're crazy, right? It's part of that process of being in the same industry.
The question is, do they serve Coke or Pepsi at the meeting? I would
think they would go neutral. I don't
know. That would be hilarious.
Have water.
If the other one had the other, if they had opposites.
Wouldn't that be funny?
That would be hilarious.
Who are we kidding? It's whiskey. It's whiskey. Neither one of them produce it.
That's right.
It's a nice gin and tonic.
Right.
Anyway,
bourbon.
So.
RC. That's right. RC Cola. That's right.
So I think, this is the process then of, and this is where I find this very helpful. It's reverse engineering the process of finding you as a voice actor. So you put on your thinking cap and you go, okay, if I am a client and I am actively searching for voice actors, if I go to Google and I type in all of my defining keywords, my primary attributes, right? The things that define my voice, my gender, my age, race, whatever, what does Google give me back? And who are these people, right? And in that process, holy crap, do we learn a lot. right? We learn how they're marketing. We learn how they're branding themselves. We learn what their websites look like. We learn what they're doing with their profiles on other platforms. And interestingly, of course, right? Because this is the other part of it. Are you there? Do you show up? Because if you don't, then oh, I got some work to do, right? I'm not competing in my own category. I got to figure this out.
Right.
And yeah, like I have always found that to be a really interesting process. How about you, Anthony? What do you
So that's a good point. So I guess I never talked about where I actually went to find all of my competition, because this is an interesting, because we could go about, but you might say, well, Anthony, how did you know these people were actually booking work and doing all this stuff?
Yeah.
So one thing I did we all have our feelings and different feelings, and they're all right. I always feel like your feelings about things are your feelings, but we all have different feelings about platforms and the things out there, right? And all these variety of different platforms. But one thing all these platforms do a good job of, because they're pushing to get more work for people, is they usually put the people who are booking and doing very well at the top. So you're very visible for everyone.
That makes sense.
Us.
Right.
Okay. So what I did was I started to go to all these platforms, whether it was Fiverr, Upwork, Voices, Voice123, Voquent, Bodaga, all these places. And I started to look at all of, in my case, the men that I felt were around my age, who were at the top and who were showing that they were being booked through reviews, through like top bookings, through their algorithms. Like that's where I found the people to do research on. So if your first question is, where do I actually go find these people or whatever? That's an easy, quick way to find people who are actually booking steadily, who are not like I was, I was talking about famous people that I was listening to. But the things that I talked about yesterday was like the glottal in my voice, the speaking in the back of my throat, the deeper tone. I was analyzing all of my competition who were way above me on any of these places I was on and being booked on. So that's where I went. Does that make sense, Gabby?
Yes.
That's how I started.
But you're breaking down things that make you identifiable. And that is exactly what a client is going to take into consideration, right? Whether it is sound and vocal style, whether it's pitch, whether it is a particular quirk or an accent, or like whatever, those are the things that we look for.
Absolutely.
And so I think for all of us, we can kind of get like a small group, like a handful of people. I'd say, probably about 5 other voice actors, and friend them on social media. Keep an eye, like look at what they're doing. You can also achieve this search on a micro level, not just with Google, right? We think of Google as the macro, but on a micro, take those same parameters on the platforms that you're on. Take it to LinkedIn, right? And see what comes up and see if it's the same people or if it's different people.
Yes, absolutely.
And we really start to form, I think, a very interesting view that way. Now, I go pretty hard, in that, like, I go to these people's agents' websites, right? I look at, where do they have representation and why? And then I take it to iSpot and I Google up, like, it's all that pursuit of what can I be doing? Yes.
It's interesting too, because I not only that, but I also did the same things for my website, for all my stuff, because how are we supposed to know these things unless we, and it's an age-old funny thing in acting, right? Is that, always acting is imitation, and that there's, we steal everything. Right, that's the whole thing, right? We steal our stuff, because there's nothing new that's at this point that's created. And going back to Aristotle, which we use everything from Aristotle, but then Aristotle had to get it from somewhere, which is another whole interesting, unique conversation, right? So, but the point is, right, is that, and then of course, yes, we add our own little, that's what's fun. We add our own thing to what we see, but you got to go get the stuff. You got to find it. You got to research it. And it is a little stalkerish, sure. Okay. But think about this. That's how competitive analysis works. Like, how do you think people know? Like, if you don't know who's in your space or who you're directly competing against, how do you ever expect to get booked more, over them? Why would, you know what I mean? Like, you've got to know what's happening.
It's
right?
Also how companies avoid repetition. It's how you avoid similarities inside of a sector, right? Because if you're not careful, that's exactly what can happen, because no idea is original.
Right.
Unfortunately, this is how, okay, so Coke and Pepsi, great example. Again, this is how you have, both companies coming out with an orange flavor in the same season. And it's like, wait a minute. And it can be happenstance. So you have to be aware.
Yes.
Something else that I like to, even though I am by no means an expert here, I'll default to you, Anthony.
Okay.
Is sports, right? How much time do players spend analyzing the actions, the plays, right, of other players?
So this is oh my gosh, there's so much, I won't go so deep in this. Okay, so I can just tell you from my role as, an offensive coordinator for a high school football team, the copious amounts of video and research on the specific teams, like research on our team
at the high school level.
It's unsurpassed, because the level at which people perform and the level at which they are able, because of technology, to do the same, that if you go into these situations unprepared, like, you will just get your hat handed to you, because they know every single move you are going to make before you make it. All right. So you have to think the same thing for us as voice actors. Like, if you don't know who's even in your space, or what they're even doing, or the types of deliveries that they're making, this is actually brilliant, because my question would be to a lot of people, if I go to you and I say, hey, I need you to make this style of voiceover, would you be like, I have no idea what you're talking about? Or would you be like, oh yeah, that was on from that, so and that campaign that was super successful, I remember, sure, I can do that. Like, that's a big deal, because, right? I mean,
it's a huge deal, because casting has these cyclical patterns of popularity, right? 10 years ago, when Allison Janney did her AstraZeneca read, that, oh my God, it's all anybody talked about. So if you don't know what that means, if you can't pull out that sound, right, that's a problem.
Right.
Today it's Aubrey Plaza. We see a ton of reference point for her. You have to know what it means when somebody's like, hey, give me a little Aubrey Plaza in this performance, right? For guys, it could be what's Cooper, what's The Hangover, I can't remember his first name right now. Bradley Cooper.
Bradley Cooper.
He's a popular one. Jeff Bridges, because he's got such a distinct sound. So it's knowing and understanding. Yes, those are trends, but some of them transcend trends, right?
Absolutely. Like, and here's the thing too. If you've ever had, also, this is so important. If you've ever had issues with clients where you are working with them too, and they're like, we're not on the same page. Like, I want this, but you're delivering that. I find that the reason you're not on the same page is because they have something in their mind, which likelihood is a trend. It's something that they've seen, that they want, and they don't know how to describe that to you. So one thing that I often do is I say, hey, do you have a name? Do you have a video? Is there something that you like? These things are important little tips and tricks for you to know. But you have to think, preempting that, going into these situations, knowing those things would allow you to audition that way. So I started changing my whole auditioning process, or my whole delivery process based off of these those things I was talking about earlier and what I was seeing. And it just, the win rate and the growth I experienced in my business, I went from year 2 to year 3 I made $20,000, and I'll be all open, I won't say, but made $20,000 in year 2 to over $100,000 in year 3. And I can tell you it was all because of that competitive analysis and me changing that style. So it wasn't that I was in the wrong places. It wasn't I was doing the wrong things. It was that I was not having a marketable sound at that moment. And I spent about 4 months working on that. Now, again, I didn't know. And here's the thing, you won't know if what you're doing, we never know, right? This is we go on faith. Like, I didn't know that what I was doing would change my life like that, but I can tell you what I was at the time. I was pissed that I wasn't getting work. And I was really even more pissed because I'm like, I'm an actor, dang it. I should be able to get work. And I don't understand why these other people are getting work. And then I thought to myself, it's not easy. That's not what I mean. But is it, in my mind, I was like, is it really that simple to listen and look what these guys are doing, and me emulating and creating my own way that they're doing? Is it really that simple? So I was like, I tried it, and you know what? It was.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, the proof is in the bookings, and that's what happens when you see something that works and you start to see a trend in that delivery, and you can repeat and you can continue to capitalize on it. You start to go,
repeating the performance. I'm glad you brought that up, because that's a really important thing. We all have jokes too about when we're sick. I always say, I'll do a voiceover for you, but don't expect it to sound like that tomorrow if you need a revision. But yes, repeating the performance, super important.
And it becomes like following the money trail, and then sometimes as our career, again, as time goes on, that money trail ends. And so you have to start again and find the fork in the road.
Case in point,
does it go now?
What is, I mean, we have such a good case in point of that, Gabby. What is that in our lifetime recently?
Oh, it's the announcer read.
Well, but what event? Like, I can't, like, it was so funny. And you were on the head of this, especially for women, of course. When we went through COVID, right, such a change. There was this, I remember the voiceover style was, we're down right now. Times are hard, but we're gonna come out of it. I remember that was the no one wanted happiness.
No.
And then I remember hearing a video from you. It was a video you would come out right and saying, look, if you don't realize that and it was geared towards women, but if you don't realize that they don't want women being happy right now, you are behind the curve. And you started to hear we were exhausted of being miserable.
Right.
And so they were hiring a lot of female voice actors to have upbeat, happy. Like, they're just so happy all the time, voiceovers.
Right.
And I don't remember. Do you remember doing? I don't know if you remember that video, but I remember hearing it
a while ago. But
and I was like, oh yeah, I remember that. And then we had to come out of that style and get back into the, hey, now we are an optimistic group of voices, right?
And that's the evolution, and so it's just knowing what's happening. But we don't get those insights unless we are a student of this industry. And it's one more reason, guys, and I mean, I know we're over time, but it's one more reason why community is so important, and you cannot succeed in this industry as an island. If you're a single person in a bubble all your own trying to do this without insights from a larger community, I mean, I wish you well, and I hope it works, but I know from experience it doesn't.
Yeah. No, not at all.
So,
hey, thank you guys so much. We do have, I want to get this question down or write it down from Pokemon's Island. We didn't get to it. It was something about how can I network and get more VO opportunities for animation and video games? So I think that's a great question that we can target. And by the way, tomorrow, we can bring that back up. If you come around tomorrow's Open Forum Friday, where we are all about answering all the questions in the chat. So please bring that tomorrow. We'd love to have you. And by the way, I want to say to everyone, today, because I can see the numbers, was our biggest day of live. So we had our previous biggest day yesterday of people joining us. Today is a new big day. So thank you guys so much for showing your love and being here with us. We love you guys. Have a wonderful rest of your day. See you all tomorrow. Bye. Goodbye.